Hello everybody and welcome to another Nightly Read Aloud with Dr. Ivey. Today is Monday. It is Monday, April the 20th, 2020. And tonight marks our 6th week of Read Alouds during school closure. Tonight happens to be night number 26. Hard to believe that we are in this for 6 weeks now. And for those of you who are just now tuning in, my name is Trevor Ivey, and I am a very proud educator in Sumter, South Carolina. And like so many of my educator colleagues right here in the community, our state, the nation, and even the world are stepping up and out of their comfort zone to completely redesign teaching and learning experiences to make sure that our students, our children, are meaningfully engaged during this very special, unique time in which schools are closed and e-learning is taking place. And to that end, I have dedicated myself to a nightly read aloud. And so tonight's read aloud, as we kick off week number 6, is a classic favorite written by Trudy Ludwig. And the title of it is called Sorry. So looking at the front cover of the book, you will see illustrated the main character, who is going to turn out to have a very important role in teaching us all a very special lesson. And so this book is about Jack's friend Charlie, who really knows how to get away with just about everything. In fact, he's picked up that if you just say sorry to most grown-ups, they'll back down. But does he really mean it? And oftentimes when we say we're sorry, the true measure of whether or not you are sorry is if you really mean it. And what if you don't mean it? And what happens when the person that you have hurt, who you are apologizing to, you don't mean it? And so in this story that we're about to read, Jack is about to find out that there's a whole lot more to a real apology than just saying sorry. So let's find out what this book is going to teach us about the lesson of truly apologizing when we are wrong. My friend Charlie is always doing stuff that he shouldn't be doing, and he even gets away with it, even when he does it on purpose. Like the time he took his sister Anna's favorite school picture and drew a mustache on it. Charlie, his mom screeched, you will say you are sorry to Anna right this instant. And Charlie did what he was told, but I could tell that he didn't mean it, and so could Anna. Now, Anna, what do you have to say to your brother? Their mom asked. A tear dropped onto the ruined photo that Anna held in her hands. And, honey, you need to forgive him. He did say he was sorry. So Anna looked at Charlie. He grinned right back. And that's when Anna started to bawl even harder. She ran straight to her room and slammed the door. Charlie turned to his mom and said, "Geez, I said I was sorry. What's her problem?" "Jack, did you see what happened here between Charlie and Anna?" Charlie's mom asked me. I shrugged. I wasn't about to say anything. No way. I wasn't about to make him mad. You ever been in that situation before? Before I met Charlie, I was simply a nobody. The one the other kids ordered to move over in the cafeteria. I was the first one that was always ignored in class and the last one that was picked for teams at recess. But then one day, I was a somebody. I was Charlie's friend. I lucked up into being his friend when I rescued Charlie's Frisbee from Mrs. Finkelstein's roof. Charlie thought it was pretty cool that I didn't get caught. You see, being friends with Charlie wasn't easy. He wanted me to do things that I didn't feel comfortable doing. "What are you, a goody-goody?" he'd say. "Besides, it's no big deal, Jack. Even if you get caught, just say you're sorry." I had to admit that it sounded easy enough, and I was worried that if I didn't do what Charlie wanted me to do, that I would end up being a nobody all over again. So one Saturday, I decided to follow Charlie's advice. I'd invited some guys over to toss water balloons in my front yard. Think fast, we'd yell at each other, hoping the balloon would burst when one of us caught it. I had a water balloon in my hand when Charlie spotted my neighbor Mike right by his mailbox. "Toss it to Mike," said Charlie. What do you think he's going to do? "Think fast," I shouted as I threw the water balloon at Mike. It was obvious that he wouldn't be able to catch it, but I threw it anyway. The balloon burst when it hit Mike right in the chest. "Bullseye," said Charlie, and the other guys started to crack up. "Ha ha ha ha. Very funny," said Mike, all red in the face. "Sorry, Mike," I called back. A few weeks later, Charlie and I went to the auditorium to watch all the kids set up their displays for the science fair. Charlie noticed Lena putting together her styrofoam solar system. He nudged me in the ribs and headed in her direction. This is not good, I thought as I followed him. Lena, you see, she was my friend. At least she was until Charlie came along. I stopped hanging out with her because it didn't look good to be friends with a brainiac girl. I knew this hurt Lena's feelings, but a guy's gotta do what a guy's gotta do to be cool, right? "Is this a solar system you're making?" asked Charlie as he fingered the styrofoam balls on the table. Lena nodded her head and kept working on her project. "Wow, these balls are really light," said Charlie as he grabbed 3 and started juggling with them. "Leave those alone," said Lena. "You'll wreck them." Charlie ignored her and continued to juggle. Lena looked up at me. I knew she was hoping that I would say something to stop Charlie, but I just stood there watching. I didn't say anything. Suddenly, Charlie tossed all 3 balls high up into the air and shouted, "Hey, Jack, catch!" I quickly tried to catch all of them, I really did, but I could only catch 1. The other 2 hit the floor and, well, it didn't look so good. "You did that on purpose," Lena said to Charlie. "And you let him," she added, pointing to me. "Sorry," we both said. "Sorry doesn't cut it," she snapped back. Mr. Marcus, the science teacher, came over to see what was all the commotion. "What's going on here?" he asked. "They were messing around with my science project and ruined it," said Lena. "We were just having some fun and we already told her we were sorry, right, Jack?" Mr. Marcus looked at me, but I couldn't look at him in the eyes. I just stared down at my sneakers and wished I were anywhere else. "Jack, what do you think Lena's feeling right now about what you did?" Mr. Marcus asked me. I looked at Lena and said in a very small voice what I saw on her face. "Really mad and sad." "Are you truly sorry, boys?" Mr. Marcus asked. "Like I said, I told her we were sorry," said Charlie. "Then show it," Mr. Marcus said. "What?" "Show Lena you're sorry by making right your wrong." Charlie stood there looking around, very confused. I got the feeling that Mr. Marcus was the first person who had ever expected more from Charlie when he said he was sorry. It was obvious Charlie didn't know what to do, but I sure did. "Lena, look at me. We're really sorry for ruining your science fair project." Then I turned to Charlie and said, "Come on, let's go to the room and get some more styrofoam, glue, and paint." It took us a while to fix the mess that we had made of the Lena's planets. "Man, this was an awful lot of work," said Charlie as he put the finishing touches of the color on Mars. "I know," said Lena. Charlie was very quiet after that. When we were finally done, Charlie asked if I wanted to shoot some hoops with him and the other guys. "No thanks," said Jack. "I'm gonna stick around and help Lena clean up the mess." Lena began to crack a smile. That's when I knew that Lena believed that I was actually sorry for what I did. "Hey, Lena." "What?" "I think your science fair project is out of this world." She rolled her eyes. "Come on, wise guy," she said. "I'll race you to the snack bar. Loser buys. Deal?" deal, said Jack. The end. So what a great book to remind us of the importance of actually meaning something when you apologize about a wrong that you have made. And so in closing, let's take a moment just to think about what actually is an apology and how do you know if you actually mean it? Well, an apology, boys and girls, is something that's really deep. It's a deep interaction between individuals, groups of people when a wrong has been made. And if an apology is done right, it has the power to actually undo the guilt, the shame of the person or the group of individuals who has really offended somebody by their actions. And it can actually help in a relationship make the wrong turn into a right, essentially. But without an apology, there really can't be any forgiveness. And so it's really important, boys and girls, that with all of this extra time that we have at home right now during this very strange time, I'm pretty sure that if you have siblings or if other individuals are in your house, which that means everybody, then there are probably going to be, if there hasn't already been, some times where you've done something wrong. You may have gotten on someone's nerves. You may have done something that you shouldn't have done, where you need to make it right. And the first thing that pops into many of our minds to make it right is to apologize. And so it's important to understand that while apologies heal, while other people hurt, it really is important to make sure that you know all the steps of an apology. And so there are 4 steps in making a meaningful apology. The first is to actually acknowledge what you did that was wrong. The second is to offer an explanation as to why you did what you did. The third step is to actually show some sort of remorse, genuine feeling that you are sorry for what you did. And the last step to make sure that your apology is genuine, that means that it is real, it is meaningful, is to offer something in return to make it right. So in the book, when Lena's solar system model got messed up, they made it right at first with Jack starting to make it right by going and getting new materials to make a replacement for the styrofoam balls that broke. And so when an apology fails, when it's not genuine, when it's not meaningful, that means that one of these 4 steps that Dr. Ivey just shared with you is missing. And so in my experience, and I think you would know this as well, boys and girls, the step that's missing is the part where you were supposed to first start off by acknowledging what you did was wrong. And so I challenge you as we move forward with the next weeks and several months ahead, when you do offend someone, when you do wrong by someone, that when you quickly come back to apologize, to seemingly make things right, that you actually mean it. So make sure that you follow those 4 steps. So boys and girls, that concludes another Nightly Read Aloud with Dr. Ivey, reading Trudy Ludwig's classic, Sorry. Before we say goodnight, before we go brush our teeth, get ready for bed, let us reflect on our day together. Question number 1, what was your most favorite thing about today? Take a moment to share with your older sibling, younger sibling, parent, or fuzzy friend. Question number 2, what was your least favorite thing about today? Question number 3, if you could change one thing about today, what would you change? And question number 4, what is one thing that you hope is going to happen tomorrow? Well, boys and girls, that does it for night number 26 as we kicked off week number 6 of Read Alouds with Dr. Ivey during school closure. Remember, if no one has told you that they love you today, that they care about you, Dr. Ivey is here to tell you that he loves you and he cares about you so very much. Have a good night. See you tomorrow.